I've been asked to do an update of how best to use the Accelerator / Liquidator. Now I've done this many times, and I thought I'd just do maybe 4, 5 or 6 basic things that are often utilised with the Accelerator on a pole and then in the hand, so it's all under one roof. Yeah, that's basically it. Right, an update on the Mormon handles. I can't buy them from Mormon. They won't sell me anything that isn't a €15,000 order. So that's out of the question. And in the UK, the Snapper 2.0 handles were on sale at Cleaning Spot, but they're all sold out. So there's the 2 updates on those 2 handles. Now let's get on to working on some commercial windows in the heat. It's in the evening, but it's really hot, and we want some very sticky, reflective windows. And I'm adding soap directly to my washer. So you can use Liquidators and Accelerators, well, especially Accelerators, but Liquidators on commercial buildings. So anyone who says you can't, they're just saying that because they can't. And I'm adding soap directly to my washer. Right, so in a normal situation when I've got nothing hindering me, stance on a pole, I'm going to use it in 25 degrees. So if I'm going to use it in 25 degrees, you're going to be using it in 25 degrees. So get your saturated washer, wash the window, don't bang the edges and the top part. And all you got to do is soap it up 25 degrees and put the tool in the right place at the right time. These windows haven't been cleaned for a very long time, and close out at the bottom and get 0 detail, 0 mistake. Right? Very straightforward, very simple, and most of the time you're going to be using the tool in 20 degrees. But sometimes you have to work close to the glass because there is an obstacle what won't let you stand in a normal position, so you're going to have to work very close to the glass. And all I'm going to do is change my angle to 40 degree, and what you're going to do is hopefully change your stance on the pole, because you've worked one side there, you want to change the other side. And again, do the same sort of technique and put the tool in the right place at the right time. If you make a mistake, fix it with your tool and technique and close out just as you normally would in a normal stance. I can't move back any further, so I adapt my tool to my working environment. Right, so let's say there's an obstacle in front of me and I've got to stand away from the glass, so I'm not in 25 degree anymore, I'm not in 40 degree. I'm now gonna possibly, most of the time, have it in a 10 degree when I'm working quite high up. Right, so let's extend my pole a little bit further. I'm going to walk away. There is a vehicle behind me, so I can't go any further, but I'm going to still walk away as much as I can to this window. I'm going to put my tool in the right place at the right time, and again aim for 0 detail, 0 mistake. So 3 times, 0 detail, 0 mistake, 3 different situations, 3 different angles. Right, so now we're going to go a little bit more complicated. We've got an imaginary deep frame. So with an imaginary deep frame, you're going to need an imaginary deeper ledge to close out on. So just because everybody else on YouTube doesn't use an angle arm, that doesn't mean you shouldn't use an angle arm. I use the Doctor angle arms. They're easy, quick, easy changeable. So I've got angle changes here, angle changes here. You don't get that with a wagtail, you don't get that with a sawbow, you don't get that with any other tool apart from that useless uni handle, Pulex handle, which nobody uses because it is bunk. Right, so we're gonna now work just a normal stance from the glass. And I've got this imaginary deep frame, so I've changed my tool now into a ledging type tool, so I can now put my tool in the right place at the right time. and close out on this imaginary deep frame and not have any interference. So 4 scenarios, 4 adaptations, and I'm not working any different than what I did with the first example. All I'm doing, and all I advise everybody to do with learning how to tool and technique, is to use a smallish size liquidator. But when you get great at liquidating, you want to go a little bit. I didn't need to take that off. I've got now 14-inch. Let's put a bit of water on here and a bit of soap on here, and we can go a little bit bigger with our squeegee, and we can get more work done in less time, less moving around, but it is a lot harder to maneuver. But once you get good at it, you can get pretty much good quality results, even on sticky, very hot windows to work on, as long as that rubber is wet. Right, so that's as much as I want to talk about with using on the pole. Now we're going to talk about using in the hand, and of course I don't have my squeegees with me, so I'm doing this all in one take, so I need to go to the van and get my squeegee. Right, so we're now working on this window here. Right, so first of all, before we talk about anything in the hand, if you're right-handed, you have your bucket on the belt on your left side. That will force you to use 2 hands. If you have your bucket on the belt on the right side, you'll be more inclined to use one hand washing, one hand, same hand squeegeeing. And you'll be working longer, harder, slower, and getting less results. So, let's add a bit of soap directly to this washer. We've got soap already on that pane of glass. And I've got my squeegee in a 10 degree, which is what most of the time that I use. And we're working on commercial glass, and it doesn't matter what other window cleaners say, if they can't use liquidators on commercial glass, that's because they're useless or hopeless or both. But you don't want to be like them and like everybody else. You want to have the best opportunity to work tool and technique using the best performing squeegee in the world. Right, so I've had it in 10 degrees. How did I do that window cleaning technique? Well, I used 2 hands, and it's a pretty difficult window to work on, but I'm not starting over here, I'm starting over here, but that doesn't mean I'm always going to start there. But most of the time I am, and I'm keeping my washer on the glass, and I'm making sure that that window is wet, soapy, and it's 100% zero detail free. Do I want to be working in 40 degree? Well, let's give it a go. I'm going to be closing out on a slightly deep edge here. I'm not going to be closing out to the side on these windows because it's got no seals to these windows. I can work very well at the top. It gets a little bit trickier coming down here. I can get away with it, but to be honest, I'm better off, you're better off if you have it in a flatter degree. Right, so I started in the middle and I took the top edge out, and then I just come down. Nice fanning movement, and just no mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you don't have to work fast because you're going to work quick. If you keep making mistakes, you're going to be working like everybody else. Longer, harder, slower, getting less results. So if I want to reach a window that is typically, I can't go any higher than this, and I've got my squeegee in a fixed position, I can't reach the top there. The beauty of having a pivoting tool is it allows you to get that extra reach without stretching yourself, and you can get that height advantage, you can get that reach advantage on the left and on the right as well. I typically hold my squeegee like this, quite high up the window, but that doesn't mean I'm always doing that, because I'm versatile and adapting, but most of the time I'm like that. But on easy to perform windows, I'm a bit further away from my down the handle. You can work a little bit quicker like that as well. But I'm not looking to work fast. I'm looking to have no mistakes. Because if I have no mistakes, I will be working quick, efficiently, effectively. Effective first. Right, so I've got that reach with that extra pivot here. So if I'm working on let's say that window is down here, right, and I want to close out on that frame, I can't reach because it's so high up, right, what I need to do on the high windows is have my squeegee hooked over like this. So let's imagine the window is like this, there's the ledge. I need it hooked over when I'm working above my head so I can close out nice and easy. If it's flat, then I've got to really stretch. I don't want to be stretching. I don't want to be working harder than what I need to. I just need to adapt my tool and get that working as it should. So working high, just get the ladybird off my arm, have it hooked. When I'm working straight in front of me, I want it kind of flat. When I'm working low, I'm going to invert it so I don't have to bend down and it will close out without having the dreaded splashback. So if these frames are this wide, I really want to be working inverted, so when I close out I don't have that awful problem of when it's wide here, now I can't close out. So I've got mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more mop up time you have, and you ended up working like everybody else on YouTube and around the world. The good thing I've noticed over the last few months is American window cleaners. Now I say American because most American window cleaners use basic tools, basic techniques, and I often think they're a lot better than what they are. You don't have to think you're better, you have to know you're better. I don't have any problem saying I'm better because I know I'm better. You need to know you're better. Don't think you're better, you got to know you're better, right? And they're using more, I've noticed, liquidators. It's not the accelerators that people struggle with, it's the liquidators primarily, because window cleaners don't have the skill, the precision, the accuracy. They work like butchers. You need to work like surgeons. You need to work like a top pro athlete, minimizing mistakes, getting the most out of every window you do. So every runner wants to get more efficient, more effective. Every boxer, every kickboxer wants to be better. But window cleaners, they tend to be bog standard and they're happy with it. Well, don't be. You want to be the best. And it's very easy to be the best, but you must not do, must listen, must act like these ignorant, they're basically pathetic people that think they are something they aren't. Just know you can be the best. You can be the best by working a certain way, using a soap solution that doesn't generally drip, nice, consistent foundation to work on, using two hands, using two stances on the pole, tool, technique on the pole, in the hand. That should wrap this video up.